Drake versus UMG is got to be one of the wildest legal showdowns in the rap world. After Drake lost this heated rap battle with Kendrick, Drake did the unexpected. He sued his own record label, UMG. But here's the plot twist. UMG just hit back with a motion to dismiss that's so rock solid, which is really an amended motion because Drake also amended his original complaint, adding in a few things like the Super Bowl. I don't know if he's going to start adding the Grand National Tour by Kendrick, but this motion to dismiss might just bury Drake's case before it even gets started. We're going to look at this all the legal arguments that make Drake's claims look petty and weak and downright laughable. From claiming defamation and harassment because of Not Like Us, the diss track, to accusing UMG of shady business practices, promoting Not Like Us, suggesting that Not Like Us would have flopped without UMG's shady promotion, and to ultimately saying if they weren't listening to Not Like Us, they would be listening to a Drake song. Drake's legal moves are getting shredded. So in this video, we're going to go over all of UMG's arguments that they have in the motion to dismiss to throw out the case. Now, if you thought Drake's bars were bad, my mom came over today and I was like, mother, I. Wait till you see how UMG's lawyers make further mockery of Drake's complaints that this song defames him. This might be the most embarrassing move of Drake's career. It probably was the video with the teenager. Who knows? Now, UMG didn't just file a motion to dismiss Drake's lawsuit. They delivered a verbal smackdown right in the intro. Right from the jump, the introduction reads like a diss track itself. Quick plug for the Rap Philosophy Discord. If you're a mature rap fan and want to join in on discussions with other fans like Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, you're welcome to come talk about rap or current events or just make some friends. Pull up. Come join the Rap Philosophy Discord. The link is in the description. I'll also be doing some free merch giveaways over there. Also, remember to turn on all notifications here on YouTube, especially to know when we go live, and you can come kick it with the chat. Check y'all out there. Come through. They start with a Drake lyric in the intro from one of Drake's very old songs, Successful, where he goes, yeah, I want it all. That's why I strive for it. Diss me, you'll never hear a reply for it. Y'all remember that line? Really old. Quoting this line to me feels like a direct shot at Drake, using his own words, because we all know that Drake did reply, right? In the battle. So why would they quote a Drake lyric saying, diss me, you'll never hear a reply for it? They're saying, Drake, you have been painting yourself as someone who doesn't let criticism or beef get under your skin. So what's your deal now? Hinting that Drake has other issues at hand, not real legal legitimacy for this lawsuit. They want to say, Drake, you're just being petty. It also shows UMG is not intimidated by using his own lyrics and that Drake can't even stand by his own principles. Ultimately, this is a true, subtle, psychological jab at Drake. UMG sets the tone by reminding everyone that Kendrick's Super Bowl performance didn't even include the controversial line that Drake's so worked up about, which he added to the amended complaint. And right after that, UMG doesn't hold back. They call out Drake for what this really is, a weak attack on the artist who just straight up beat him in a rap battle. They're saying Drake's not actually going after the label. He's just mad Kendrick took the W and that he took the L, and now he's trying to save face. It's like Drake's whole legal strategy is to act hurt and damaged and play victim because the diss track just hit too close to home. But here's where it gets really wild. UMG points out that Drake's actually being a hypocrite. Remember how Drake was throwing shots at Kendrick in his own diss tracks? UMG's like, you can't dish it out and then cry when Kendrick fires back. Basically, they're making it clear that Drake has no ground to claim he was defamed when he's the one who instigated the back and forth in the first place and participated with a bunch of rap disses that do similar to what Not Like Us does. And on top of that, UMG calls out the legal flaws. Drake is claiming harassment under a criminal statute that doesn't even apply to speech. Plus, he's accusing UMG of violating business laws and doesn't even actually explain how. It's like he's throwing legal jargon around hoping that something sticks. And oh, the irony, UMG hits him with the fact that just a few years back, Drake publicly signed a petition opposing the use of rap lyrics as literal fact in court. The one entitled Protect Black Art. So UMG is basically saying, why are you treating Kendrick's lyrics as fact now when you were just preaching the opposite? And if all this wasn't enough, UMG wraps it all up in the intro by reminding everyone that Drake is one of the most successful artists of all time. So why is he playing victim now? They're not buying it, and honestly, neither is the court. The intro alone makes it clear that Drake's lawsuit is more about protecting his ego than protecting his reputation. Their first major argument is, How did we defame you? Because a complaint must plead enough facts to state a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. That's what they're quoting. Drake, you used our platform to publish slurs about Kendrick during the feud. Now you claim that Not Like Us is defamatory? Now, their main argument here is that Not Like Us is an opinion. And it's a hyperbole. It has exaggerated statements that's obvious to everyone that this is a rap battle. What they're saying is that for this to be defamation, it has to be Kendrick asserting a fact and not making an opinion about you. And in order to distinguish between an assertion of a fact and an opinion, courts have ruled, and this is the cases that they bring up, that the precise meaning has to be understood. The statement is capable of proving to be false, that you have to be able to prove this as false in order for this to be true defamation. And also the context and the tone of the statements signaling that this is a fact. And a lot of this comes from the Michael Rappaport versus Barstool Sports, where they made a rap song about him that made all these alleged comments and there was more exaggerated statements. And he ultimately lost that case. Because what they're saying is that if it reflects anger and speculation and is parody and has figurative language, then this is not an assertion of fact. This is just an hyperbole. Now, Barstool Sports, the rap song about Michael Rappaport, they said he had herpes and that he abuses his girl. These were like the claims. The audience was just like reacting to it. But the courts ruled against him. And this was mostly, they said, hyperbole and non-literal language. Another case where they quote, even apparent statements of fact may assume the character of statements of opinion when made in public debate, heated labor dispute, or circumstances in which an audience may anticipate the use of epithets, fiery rhetoric, or hyperbole. So even if it's assumed that this is a fact, it's obvious that it's an opinion based on how and the context of where it's being made, right? We're talking about the context of a rap battle, a super popular rap battle between two of the biggest artists. They also make another case statement showing that, quote unquote, expressions of opinion as opposed to assertions of fact are deemed privileged. And no matter how offensive, they cannot be subject of an action for defamation. So this is like showing the court and reminding everyone that the purpose of this is freedom of speech, right? The purpose of this is that someone can have an opinion. Doesn't matter if it's offensive. Now it's saying it's on you, Drake. Show us how this isn't a protected opinion. Explain to us how anything here is not just an opinion about you, even no matter how upset you are about it. They get on to explain that Not Like Us is exaggerated, right? It's just exaggerated statements. And they go on to make a breakdown of the song, trying to explain to Drake, because Drake, as Kendrick said, he misses the metaphors. Whispering to a clown, right? In the music video, I see dead people, meaning you were defeated. That's what it means, Drake. And then remember that when Kendrick is hitting the piñata, they write at the bottom, no OV holes were harmed during the making of this video, meaning obviously this is figurative. Kendrick's not calling for action against you. And the artwork is obviously Photoshop, right? The thumbnail with all those points on his house. They say this was obviously published in connection with the rap battle, right? This is not like an assertion that Kendrick is saying that this is exactly the case. This is part of the rap battle, which was followed after 7 other songs, right? So this just come out of nowhere. And Drake made allegations that his son is actually by another man, right? This came after Drake made these crazy statements as well, and that Kendrick abuses his fiance. So now more than ever is the time for Not Like Us to make similar exaggerated statements. They're just trying to show that's obvious in the rap battle. And Drake is pointing to handpicked random anonymous online comments. They say that he's just randomly choosing things, saying like, look how Kendrick is telling everyone to attack me. They say to assess whether something is a statement or an opinion, it has to be based on an objective, reasonable, or average person, not a handful of anonymous comments, right? You can't just take all these random comments that you handpick and say, see, they're saying the court has to decide based on being reasonable or average person for them to assume that these are statements of fact. They also say something pretty hilarious where they say that these comments are grammatically, most of them incorrect, contain a ton of slang and emojis, and are authored by sources called Wrestling Warrior, Meow Meow, 1234, and I'm Chicken Little. So they're just like what are these? Now, Michael Rappaport argued the same thing that Drake is trying to argue, which he lost. that he just looked at how the audience was interpreting things, and the courts ruled that his points were without merit. And ultimately, it's like, if you listen to Not Like Us, does the average person listening to a rap battle song say, what does that mean? Like, this is just an opinion of Kendrick's, right? Like, certified lover boy, certified. Drake says what Kendrick is suggesting, that he has insider knowledge by saying, say Drake, I hear you like him young. Rabbit hole is still deep. I can go further, I promise. So Drake is trying to say in the lawsuit that Kendrick has some insider knowledge that he's assuming about me. Undisclosed facts. Drake also told Kendrick, now UMG says, Drake, you also told Kendrick in Tailor Made Freestyle, talk about him liking young girls, an invitation that Kendrick accepted. And Drake also said in Family Matters, your darkest secrets are coming to light. And in Heart Part 6, he says, what about the bones we dug up in that excavation? So they're saying this is all just a rap battle. You made all these similar assertions. You said that you had all this undisclosed things. So this is all just a reaction right back at you. Drake and all these relationships, these are things that were reported prior. And UMG says, you yourself, Drake, know that this is prior to Not Like Us, because you say in the Heart Part 6, this Epstein angle was the shit I expected. Meaning, Drake, you knew that these were things that were already well known and reported about you. So this isn't something that Kendrick came out and asserted as a fact about you. Now, their next argument is, you can't assume that we acted with malice to publish this song. So they say in your complaint, you don't show that anyone from our corporation acted with bad intentions when we published this song. Like, how are you going to explain that? Then their next thing is Drake's complaint that he is being harassed. Ultimately, UMG saying, how did we harass you? In Drake's complaint, they used the NY penal law. Now, what UMG is arguing is that this is a criminal statute that's designed for criminal prosecution by the state rather than private lawsuits. And this case is a civil lawsuit. So if anyone would be granted the use of this as like in a private matter, it would be law enforcement. Ultimately, UMG is arguing that even if the song Not Like Us were considered harassing, Drake cannot legally file a civil lawsuit under this statute because that's a criminal law, not a civil one. And then they also go on to say that Drake says that we wanted to devalue him. And they say, UMG says, how would a contract with Drake be more profitable for all of us if Drake was devalued? Right? Just logically. Drake tries to claim that they botted and paid for streams and ultimately turned Not Like Us into this phenomenon. And he uses the NYGBL laws, and they're saying, how did we violate this New York general business law? You're assuming that we deceive people by promoting this song, Not Like Us by Kendrick. And the New York general business law, it generally deals with deceptive acts and practices in the conduct of any business or trade. So they're saying, how did we make false representations about the popularity of the song to inflate its success? And Drake just says, on information and belief. They're saying, what's the scheme, Drake? That we misrepresented the success of the song, we tricked people. That's just conjecture. And they're saying you're relying on random podcast claims. They say a now deleted X comment that accuses UMG of buying promo and that he used a bot streamer. And they're saying this isn't plausible. They're just random comments. But then they go on to say, even if we did promote the song, which I would assume it's plausible that they promoted the song for sure. But what they're saying is that you're not showing how this song only became an immense cultural and phenomenal success because of only our specific promotion. Like, you are assuming that we tricked people. They're saying that this song was immensely popular, not that it only became popular because of that we used some secret trick promotion against the audience. Also, they're saying we don't even really have to disclose every promotional strategy. Unless we like misled people, which we didn't mislead people about the song's quality. We don't have to share every marketing detail with the public. Finally, Drake's claim that he says in his complaint, every time Not Like Us was played, it was a missed opportunity for a Drake song to be played. And they're saying that's not even a plausible argument. Play you instead. So if they weren't listening to Kendrick's Not Like Us, they would be listening to a Drake song specifically? No one else? Crazy.